जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON Viprasansthavakacharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki नामाचार्य श्रीला हरदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपिनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की गंगा माई की जमुना माई की भक्ति देवी की कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की कलयुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशनल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Reading from Canto 3, Chapter 13. The appearance of Lord Varaha. Text number 10. Etavati Atmajai Veera Karya Hi Apachiti Gurau Shaktya Apramattai गृह्येत स आदरं गतमत्सरैः एतावतात्मजैवीर कार्या हि अपचितिर्गुरौ शक्त्यप्रमत्तैर्गृह्येत सादरं गतमत्सरैः एतावतात्मजैर्वीर कार्या हि अपचितिर्गुरौ शक्त्या प्रमत्तैर्गृह्येत सादरं गतमत्सरैः एतावतात्मजैवीर कार्या हि अपचितिर्गुरौ शक्त्या प्रमत्तैर्गृह्येत सादरं गतमत्सरैः Ladies. Yeah, please. Etavati, just exactly like this. Atmajai, by the offspring. Veera, O hero. Karya should be performed. He, certainly. Apachitihi, worship. Gurau, unto the superior. Shaktya, with full capacity. Apramattaihi, by the same. Grihyeta, should be accepted. Sa adaram, with great delight. Gatamatsaraihi, by those who are beyond the limit of envy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. O hero, your example is quite befitting a son in relationship with his father. This sort of adoration for the superior is required. One who is beyond the limit of envy and who is sane accepts the order of his father with great delight and executes it to his full capacity. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When the four previous sons of Brahma, the sages Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandan and Sanat Kumar, refused to obey their father, Brahma was mortified and his anger was manifested in the shape of Rudra. That incident was not forgotten by Brahma, and therefore the obedience of Manu Swayambhuva was very encouraging. From the material point of view, the four sages' disobedience to the order of their father was certainly abominable. But because such disobedience was for a higher purpose, they were free from the reaction of disobedience. Those who disobey their fathers on material grounds, however, are surely subjected to disciplinary reaction for such disobedience. Manu's obedience to his father on material grounds was certainly free from envy. And in the material world, it is imperative for ordinary men to follow the example of Manu. Shrutam cha drishtavat dushtam spardha asuya atyaya vyayai bahuantaraya kamatvad krishivat chapi nishvalam. So the Srimad Bhagavatam describes the situation in this material world is that whichever corner of the world one may go to, there will always be some imperfection. You cannot expect perfection anywhere, and we have to make the best use of the bad bargain. So the verse says, Shrutam cha drishtavat dushtam, based on our current experience of our life so far, drishtavat. We may have experienced some dosh, some fault somewhere. We may have experienced some frustration somewhere. And what is the kind of frustrations we experience? Spardha, competition, asuya, envy, atyaya, decay, deterioration, decline, vyayai, death. And one may think, oh, in this location, my efforts were not successful, so let me go to some other location. Let me change my circumstance, change my situation. But the Bhagavatam says, Krishivat chapi nishphalam. Just like a farmer tries growing crops in one place, it doesn't grow to his expectation because there is too much of salt in that soil. So he goes to another place, and when he tries to grow there, he sees that wild animals are attacking. Then he goes to another place. Oh, rainfall is too much. Krishivat chapi nishphalam. Just like you try to do farming in multiple locations, there will be some problem. Like that in the material world, the conditioned soul is aspiring for a perfect relationship with people, positions, possessions, and millions of lifetimes pass for the conditioned soul in the search of perfection in the wrong place. The aspiration is right, the application is wrong. The aspiration for perfection is right. The perfection in relationship should be aspired for. But there is no point searching for perfection in a relationship with other people of this world, with possessions of this world, with positions of this world. Because ultimately, all of that will lead to frustration. Therefore, that is the basic principle based on which we can see that even someone like Brahmaji, the ideal guru, the original guru, Adi Guru, is not having the luxury of having somebody who is perfectly obedient. So the four Kumaras are the most noble of all sages. So there is no lack of purity. Purity will automatically guarantee perfection in relationship is also a myth. Because Brahma is absolutely pure, Four Kumaras are absolutely pure, but two totally pure souls can also have deadly difference of opinion. That is the nature of this world. And therefore, perfection in character by itself does not guarantee harmony, because the software of disharmony is embedded within this material world. And where it will get triggered off by Krishna through his time factor, you can never predict. So that should not make us feel good that, oh, my disobedience is not bad. That, oh, if Kumaras can also do so. So, at least I am obedient, even though I may not be pure. So it is not an excuse for continuing impurity or trying to be disobedient. But Srimad Bhagavatam brings us scenarios where all perfect personalities may be there, but still the interaction does not always result in a perfect scenario. Therefore, here it is described that Brahmaji is feeling very satisfied that Manu is deciding to follow. Manu is expressing obedience. And so Brahmaji is feeling very satisfied with Manu for that experience of obedience, because Brahma has just gone through a miserable experience of the Kumaras dissenting against him, going against his will, and opposing his decision to increase and expand progeny. Therefore, Uddhava describes in the 11th canto, Tapatrayena bhetasya ghore santapyamanasya bhavadvanisha Pashyaminanyat sharanam tavangri dvandvat patrat amrita bhivarshat. He says, you have created the material world, my dear Lord. The design is such that there will always be tapa, which means heat, pain, experience of misery. Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. When the divine forces will not behave as per our expectation, when other people will not respond as to our expectation, and our own mind and senses will not remain within our control as per our expectation. So therefore we are continuously tormented, because we realize that I am not in control. So to try to control against that reality when I am not in control is the actual symptom of misery. But to realize that I am not in control, and to realize that Ishwar, the Supreme Lord Krishna, is in control, and to try to submit to that Supreme Lord Krishna's will, is the beginning of being released from the grip of misery. Even though one may not have fully realized it, but beginning that process is important. That I am not in control, Krishna is in control. Let me try to surrender to him. So that's what Uddhava is saying. Tapatrena abitasya ghore. The misery I experience is deadly. Ghore. Santapyamanasya bhavadvanisha. And that heat, that pain is splitting me miserably. Pashyamina anyat. I do not see any other recourse. Sharanam tavangri, apart from taking shelter of your lotus feet. Dvandva atapatrat amrita bhivarshat. And taking shelter of lotus feet means what? Trying to subdue my will to Krishna's will. Krishna's will is supreme. Whether I like that will or not is a different question. But I submit to that will. Can I understand that will? Maybe not. But the important thing is the purpose of scripture is not to help us understand Krishna's will, but to help us stand under his will, to submit to his will. And therefore, when the Pandavas are selected by Krishna as his instruments, this is an important theme that the Pandavas go through misery after misery. But they continue trying to submit to the Lord's will. Sarvam kalakritam manye bhavatam chayata priyam sapalo yat vashe loko vayor iva ghanavali. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ji Bhagavan Ki. So when Bhishma Dev looks at the Pandavas, he is lying on the bed of arrows, and the Pandavas are entering into the arena. So Bhishma is saying, what kind of life you Pandavas went through? You were such pure devotees of Krishna, but still went through challenge after challenge, difficulty after difficulty, calamity after calamity. So therefore, you have revealed a very important principle, that accepting Krishna as your worshipable Lord does not provide indemnity from calamity, does not guarantee prosperity, but it gives you the strength to tolerate that calamity and take shelter of the Supreme Lord with gratitude, acknowledging his supremacy. And therefore he says, Sarvam kala kritam manye. Everything is the time factor. Bhavatam chayada priyam sapalo yat vashe loko vayor iva ghanavali. The clouds may look impressive, magnificent, powerful, influential, but simply by the gust of wind, all those clouds are scattered in a moment. That is the vulnerability of our magnificent plans. Whatever plans we may make, they are just like those clouds. And Krishna's will is just like the wind. In a moment, everything can be scattered. Vayor iva ghanavali. And therefore the whole principle of Krishna consciousness is how we learn to submit our will to Krishna's will. That's the process of training, of cultivation. And therefore Bhishma Dev says, Yatra dharma suto raja gada panir brikodara krishnostri gandivam chapam suhurta krishnas tato vipat. What an ideal family, dream family the Pandavas have. Sometimes we think, if only my situation was like this, my salary was like this, my house was like that, my relationships was like this, my assets was like this, the stock market was like this. So many thoughts we may get about how the circumstances could be adjusted. But the Pandavas had a group of 6 personalities who could potentially adjust any circumstance, either individually or by the combined power of their skills which they had. So that's what Bhishma Dev is acknowledging, and is saying, Yatra dharma suto raja. Yudhishthir, he is dharma, righteousness personified, truth personified. Bhima is power personified. Arjuna is skill personified. Nakul and Sahadev are loyalty personified. And Krishna is the supreme well-wisher personified. can't get better than that. But tato Krishnas tato vipat. In spite of having all of these constellations together, the Pandavas just went through disaster after disaster. That's what Bhishma Dev is saying. And therefore it is said, Mahavipattau samsare yah smaret madhusudana vipattau tasya sampatti bhavet ityaha shankara. When in a situation of calamity, Mahavipatti, yah smaret, one remembers the Supreme Lord, Krishna, vipattau tasya sampatti. His vipatti or his calamity becomes sampatti, the source of his prosperity. And that's what the process of Krishna consciousness is all about. That one is not looking for a relationship in this world to enhance his prosperity or diminish the calamity or adversity, but one is simply looking for opportunity to submit to the will of the Lord and please the Lord. And therefore, when that shift in our focus happens, that's what the process of Krishna consciousness is meant to inculcate. So in the context of the Mahabharata, Yudhishthir, one time, he took a vow. And what was the background to that vow? Yudhishthir looked at Vyasadeva one day, offered obeisances and said, "You are Trikaladarshi. You can see the past, present and future. Is there any significant message for me?" So you should know, before you ask Trikaladarshis, you have to be ready for the answer also. Right? So Vyasadeva looks at Yudhishthir and says, "Your entire family is going to be destroyed." First news. Good or bad, you figure out. The entire family clan is going to be destroyed. Point number one. If that is not enough, worse news than that bad news is, you, Yudhishthir, will be responsible for that. And Yudhishthir says, "Thank you very much. Good morning." So if somebody asked Prabhupada, "Srila Prabhupada, what is the meaning of news?" Prabhupada said, "News means what the rascals are doing." The news is dukkhale mashashvatam. So Yudhishthir becomes bewildered. And he says, "What is this? I will be responsible." Now he can't tell. Vyasadeva is only Trikaladarshi. He only sees the past, present, future. He can't change the future. So Yudhishthir looks at Vyasadeva ji and he says, "I will find a solution around this. If I am supposed to be the instrument for all the destruction of the family, how could that be? It can only be because maybe I don't obey some seniors, elders, the gurus. Calamity happens when there is disobedience." Because here, Brahmaji is very upset with the four Kumaras' disobedience. But did you know that the entire battle of Mahabharata happened because of Yudhishthir's obedience? So by reading some part, you may think obedience is good, disobedience is bad. Bhagavatam throws out all stereotype conceptions. The entire Mahabharata happened because of Yudhishthir's obedience. Yudhishthir, in a fit of enthusiasm, just like today is first day of Kartik. So many devotees will be in high enthusiastic mode and take various vows. I will not do this, I will do this, I will do this, everything. So it's like the market is high on vows today. So like that, Yudhishthir also was like on a high. And he said, I take a vow. Vyasdev said, what vow? I take a vow. You are a witness. He said, okay, what's the vow? And Yudhishthir says, I take a vow that any elder tells me anything, I will never say no. I will always say yes. I take a vow of permanent obedience. Vyasdev hits his hand on the head. He said, my God, finished. Yudhishthir says, what happened? Vyasdev says, anyway, I should leave something for you also to figure out. And when the gambling match conspiracy came from Duryodhan's side and Shakunish's side, Dhritarashtra sends the message, come for the gambling match. The whole world, including Vidura, tell Yudhishthir, this is a conspiracy. You will get trapped. You will lose your kingdom. You will lose your fame. You will lose your reputation. Don't go. Yudhishthir said, I have taken a vow. And my vow is that of obedience. I cannot say no. And I am sworn to truth. I am sworn to my vow. I have to follow. That is the complex nature of this material world. That obedience could lead to the greatest disaster of 640 million people's death. Perfect obedience as a value. You know, all the parents tell the children, be obedient. Nobody says be disobedient also. Always be obedient, always be obedient. Follow the elders. Yudhishthir became the cause of 640 million people's death because of obedience which was not as per time, place and circumstance. So therefore, the Bhagavatam is revealing that before making any decision, there should always be discrimination. The indiscriminate taking of vow by Yudhishthir became the cause of the entire destruction. So therefore, Bhishma Dev is mentioning that the Pandavas went through so many calamities, so many difficulties. But for Pandavas, it was more important for Pandavas to have a relationship with Krishna, to experience Krishna's presence than to experience pleasure or pain, prosperity or adversity. So when you have opportunity to serve on one hand and there is prosperity and adversity on another hand, which one do you choose? And that's what happens in the case of Bali Maharaj also. In the case of Bali Maharaj, he says that Pumsam shlaghyatamam manye dandam arhattamarpitam yam namata pita brata suhradaschadyushantihi. He says, my dear Lord, people in this world experience punishment, reward. Many people have been given punishment to their dependents in the past. But no one has punished their dependent the way you have punished me. You are not just Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are Supreme Personality of punishment also. Dandam arhat tamarpitam. That is the kind of danda you have given me. Stripped away everything in one moment. But I will accept it because it is coming from you. Anything coming from Krishna, whether it is prosperity or adversity, is prasad. So that is something which in my lectures I asked the audience. If a demigod or a materialistic person in this world offers you reward from one hand and Krishna offers you punishment from the other hand, which one you will accept? The reward from a materialist or a punishment from Krishna? And usually the response is silence. Because we know that the right answer has to be punishment from Krishna, but that's a very tall order. And therefore Kunti Maharani had the ability to say, Vipada santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam syat na punar bhava darshanam. As Krishna is leaving for Dwarka, she is saying, no. When you were present, we were experiencing calamity. When we were experiencing calamity, we were calling out to you. So, remembrance of Krishna is more important for us. Association of Krishna is more important for us than prosperity. So for us, perfection is not prosperity. Perfection is the opportunity to serve you, Krishna. So don't go. And if for you to stay back, you have to give further calamity, please do that. That is Kunti Maharani's prayer. And whenever I quote that, I always make it a point, it's not my prayer. It's Kunti Maharani's prayer. So therefore, the material world is designed to reveal to us that don't focus on investing on relationships within this material world. Invest on a relationship with Krishna. And then however challenging Krishna's will may be, but aligning with that will is ultimately the method for experiencing joy in the long run. And therefore, when the Pandavas and the Kauravas were having the battle of Kurukshetra, so Karna started attacking Yudhishthir Maharaj like anything. And finally Yudhishthir Maharaj had to be brought back by the charioteer, severely wounded. And Yudhishthir Maharaj was nursing his wounds within the camp. Someone came and told Arjuna, Yudhishthir Maharaj has been killed, or Yudhishthir Maharaj is severely wounded. And Arjuna started looking frantically for Yudhishthir. He could not find where is Yudhishthir. So Arjuna told Krishna, let us go back to the camp. The battle was raging, full blast. It was not sunset. But Arjuna told Krishna and brought his chariot back into his camp. As soon as Yudhishthir Maharaj looks at Arjuna, Yudhishthir looks at Arjuna and says, Arjuna, you are back from the battlefield in the middle of the battle before sunset, and it is not that you are wounded, so looks like you have killed Karna and come. Is it not? Arjuna says, no, I didn't kill Karna. I just heard about your injury. I heard about you are not safe. So I came just to check whether everything is okay with you or not. Yudhishthir becomes very angry. Again, an example that you may do things with the best intention, but how the other person will react is unpredictable. Arjuna has simply come back so that he can offer his protection, his sympathy, his empathy to Yudhishthir. And Yudhishthir flares up and says, how could you come back from the battlefield without killing Karna? You are a coward. How could you do that? The whole world glorifies you that you are such a big powerful warrior, but I tell you, you are useless. And not only you are useless, your Gandiva is useless. Arjuna immediately picks up his sword and looks at Krishna. And he says, my dear Lord, for your kind information, I have taken a vow that anyone criticize my Gandiva, I will kill him. Please bless me so that I can kill Yudhishthir. Krishna looks at this scene. It's the battle of Kurukshetra, but it's not the battle Krishna expected. So Krishna looks at Arjuna and is thinking, I spoke the Gita not for this. So Krishna looks at Arjuna and he says, Krishna has to think quickly, because he's in Dharma Sankat. So Krishna looks at Arjuna and says, that's a good point. That's a very good point. But, my dear Arjuna, there are two ways of killing others as per scripture. Arjuna says, two ways of killing. What are those? Krishna says, first is you kill the other person with weapons. Arjuna says, what's the other one? Krishna says, the other is you criticize the person so badly that loss of reputation is equal to death. So you can criticize Yudhishthira liberally. Arjuna says, I'll take the second option. Keeps the sword down and starts criticizing Yudhishthira. He did like this, he did like that, he did like this. And he goes on for some time. And then after he is finished, he falls at the feet of Yudhishthira and starts crying bitterly. And my dear elder brother, you are like my worshipable God, you are Dharmaraj yourself. Still, I committed so much of offense. Arjuna picks up the sword again, puts it against his own neck, looks at Krishna and says, I feel so bad, I want to kill myself. Krishna is thinking, my God, from frying pan to fire. Krishna looks at Arjuna and he says, for your information, Arjuna, as per scripture, there are two ways of killing oneself. Arjuna says, oh, so many things you didn't include in the Gita. What are the two ways of killing oneself? Krishna says, first is you kill yourself by harming yourself with weapons. Second is you start glorifying yourself. Self-glorification is equivalent to suicide. So Arjuna says, I'll pick up the second one. And he puts the sword down and starts glorifying himself. If I was not there, they could not have done anything. If I was not there, and he went on. And then Krishna says, okay, that's enough, I think. And so Krishna had to intervene in that situation. And therefore, it is not that after speaking the Gita and Krishna having spoken the Gita to Arjuna and Arjuna following the Gita, everything went smooth. There were so many nuances, challenges, tribulations. And the difference between Pandavas and Kauravas was, when in difficulty, the Pandavas continued to take shelter of Krishna. They continued to submit to Krishna. They regarded that relationship with Krishna as the overarching principle. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he wanted to go to Vrindavan, but the devotees were stopping him. Yadyapi swatantra prabhu nahe nivaran, bhakta ichha vina prabhu na kore gaman. Lord Chaitanya was perfectly independent. Yadyapi swatantra. Nobody could stop him. But Lord Chaitanya realized, if I have to go to Vrindavan, Vrindavan means what? Vrindavan means every person in Braj dances in tune with Krishna's steps. That is the Rasa Leela. Krishna's will leads the dance, and the devotees' steps follow Krishna's steps. When one is perfectly aligned to respond to Krishna's will, instantly, spontaneously, without any hesitation, without any delay. That is what is known as Vraja. Vraja means movement. What moves? Krishna's will is constantly moving without GPS. There is no destination defined. It will go like this, like this, like this, like this. Unpredictable, like described in the Govardhan Leela. How Krishna's will change, you cannot predict. And Krishna will not declare. But when that will changes, those who respond immediately and agree to submit to that will and serve Krishna instantly, they are the Vraja Vasis. So Vrajavasi, apart from being those who are born in the tract of Vraja, are also those who are cultivating the consciousness that as soon as Krishna's will changes, however deep, long, and obsessed I may be with my plans, I am willing to demolish my own plans and follow Krishna's plans with enthusiasm, which is very, very difficult. And that's what Lord Chaitanya is showing. I took sannyas simply for the purpose of going to Vrindavan. January the 14th, 1510. But due to various reasons, Lord Chaitanya could not go in 1511, 1512, 13, 14. Finally, Lord Chaitanya entered only in 1515 Kartik Purnima, the first day of Kartik. So today is the first day of Kartik, last day of Kartik. So Lord Chaitanya entered Vrindavan on the last day of Kartik. So I tell the devotees, you have spent more time in Kartik in Vrindavan than Lord Chaitanya. But he didn't go around shopping in Loi Bazaar. Lord Chaitanya only spent one final day of Kartik, he entered. Bhakta ichha vina prabhu na kore kaman. He did not want to do anything against the devotees' will. So Prabhupada was in Bhuvaneshwar. His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj was translating Bhagavatam into Uriya. Prabhupada asked him, how's the translation work? Gaur Govind Maharaj said, very slow. Prabhupada said, it is very crucial seva. Why it is slow? He says, I have to do so much of management. I don't get time. Prabhupada said, management anybody can do. You are the president. You delegate it. You do translation. Gaur Govind Maharaj said, Prabhupada, it is true that I am president, but I am also the only resident. Prabhupada said, I see so many people here. Gaur Govind Maharaj said, you are here, so everybody has come to visit. You go, everyone goes. I'll be alone again. So then Prabhupada looked at one devotee who was walking by. And Prabhupada looked at him from a distance and told Gaur Govind Maharaj, why don't we make him the manager here? So Gaur Govind Maharaj told Prabhupada, he has come from New York and he is going back to New York tomorrow. Already his tickets are booked. Prabhupada said, we will change his plans. Gaur Govind Maharaj said, only you can do that. I cannot tell him. So he calls this devotee. The devotee offers obeisances to Prabhupada. Prabhupada smiles at him. The devotee becomes nervous. His Paramatma is warning him. Something is coming. Prabhupada said, I want you to stay back here and manage this place in Bhuvaneshwar and assist Gaur Govind Maharaj. It's like a thunderbolt to this devotee. He says, but Prabhupada, the weather in India doesn't suit me. Prabhupada said, only when you stay a longer time it will suit you. So the first objection overruled. So he thinks of the second one. He says, Prabhupada, the food, I'm not able to digest. Prabhupada said, I will write down what to eat, what not to eat. Everything will be fine. Second also gone. So he starts thinking further. Says, Prabhupada, they have started a new department for me in New York. I have to go and take over. Prabhupada said, I will organize some other devotee to take over. You stay here. Now his ideas are running out. So he says, Srila Prabhupada, I cannot get along with the local GBC. Prabhupada said, today only I changed the GBC. Now he has no more excuses. So he thought things, let me use the Brahmastra. And he says, Srila Prabhupada, I am so busy here morning till night. There are hardly anyone here. I am not able to complete my 16 rounds. If I go to New York, at least my sadhana will be in order. Prabhupada said, if you are busy in Krishna's service morning till night, even if you don't complete, Krishna understands. It's all right. Stay here and manage. So Srila Prabhupada many times had to push certain devotees to engage in service. But ultimately, the devotees realized that although we were unwilling, but when we adjusted our will to align with the will of Krishna and Krishna's devotees, ultimately, that is what creates spiritual transformation and realization. And therefore here, Brahmaji is expressing to the Manu that your example is quite befitting a son, that you are without envy and you are accepting with delight and executing it with full capacity. And that's what Srila Prabhupada did when he got the order from Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Prabhupada also tried to preach in India. He gave easy journey to other planets to somebody, his friend in Jhansi. His friend asked him, what I am going to get by reading this? Prabhupada said, you will go back to Godhead by reading this. His friend said, can I come back to Jhansi after going back to Godhead? Prabhupada said, no. He said, I am not interested. So this kind of people Prabhupada met before he left. But then when he finally followed Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's order, which he got in 1922, and Prabhupada finally established ISKCON in 1966. Right? So now we are celebrating 60-50. Next year is 60-50. So ISKCON is celebrating the 60-50. 60 years of ISKCON's establishment in 2026 and 50 years of Srila Prabhupada's departure in 2027. So both 2026 and 2027 is being celebrated globally as ISKCON 60-50 to commemorate these two important occasions, that in a period of 1966 to 1977, how could a person between the age of 69 and 81 accomplish establishing 108 temples, write 80 books, travel the world 14 times, and create 5,000 plus disciples, while at the same time translating 6 hours every night? 1955 to 65, Prabhupada came out with one canto of Bhagavatam, and 66 to 77 he came out with second canto till 10th canto, 14th chapter, Chaitanya Charitamrita, entire Adilila, Madhilila, Antalila, Nectar of Devotion summary study, Krishna book summary study, and hundreds of lectures. So therefore, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Pravartan. A testimony of how much Krishna can empower someone if they try to fulfill the will of the parampara. Navadvipe ei shakti na koila prakase, se shakti prakashinis tarila dakshina deshe. Lord Chaitanya could not find reciprocation in Navadvip, so he inaugurated Sankirtan in South India. So Prabhupada says, I also did not find cooperation in India, so I went to the West. Right? एक दिन उद्योग ऐच्छे महोत्सव कैला, गोपाल प्रभावे हुए अन्य न जानिला. Madhavendra Puri received the deities of Gopal at night, and then by next day afternoon installation was done. How is it possible? By the will of the Lord. Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness movement has spread in hardly few years time. Prabhupada says it does not require a few years also. If Krishna's will is there, even in a few days time it can happen. So all we need to do is align with that will, and that is what is called Sambandha Gyan. What is Sambandha Gyan? Sambandha means how do I enhance the quality of my relationship with Krishna's will, with Krishna's devotees, the Vaishnava's will, the Guru Parampara's will. If that remains the focus of my relationship, Sambandha, that's called Sambandha Gyan. So you may say, but for me I keep faltering all the time. I try to follow the will of the Vaishnavas. I try to follow the will of the Gurus. I try to follow, but I keep falling while following. So the Bhagavatam says, Kamba dayalum sharanam vrajema. Look at the case study of Putana. Better to try to follow Krishna imperfectly than to follow anyone in this world perfectly. An imperfect relationship with Krishna, a struggling, faltering relationship with Krishna, but with sincere intention, is better than a perfect relationship with people, position and possessions of this material world. And that's the whole theme of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Putana's pastimes shows Padbhyam Bhakta Hridistabhyam Vandabhyam Lokavanditaihi Angam Yasyaha Samakramya Bhagavan Apitastanam Yatu Dhanyapisa Swargam Avapa Jananim Gatim Krishna Bhuktastana Kshiraha Kim Uggavo Numatura. Are that lotus feet of Krishna which is being aspired for by the yogis, that lotus feet was touching Putana's ghastly body. And if Krishna could give position of mother to someone who came to kill him, what will he give to those gopis who are willingly giving him milk for his pleasure? That shows the ocean of compassion, Karuna Sindhu. So why not develop a relationship with such a devotee, such a person, such a personality, who will understand our struggles, who will understand our shortcomings, who will understand that our actions may fall short of our intention, but we continue striving to serve with sincere intention. And that's what Yashoda Mai's efforts to tie Damodar with the ropes indicate. One is Krishna's mercy, but the most important is the devotee's efforts. Swamatusvinna gatraya visrishta kabarasraja drishtva parishramam Krishna kripayasit swabandane. When Krishna saw Yashoda Mai's struggle and her hair falling off, the flowers falling off from her hair, disheveled hair and beads of perspiration because of her intense efforts. Drishtva parishramam. Shramam means effort. Pari means continuous. Parikrama means continuous movement around. So shrama means effort. But when one effort fails, you don't sit and keep crying, remain morose and think, why did I even make that effort? Parishramam means as soon as one effort ends, the immediate next effort begins. Ceaseless, continuous effort. Apratihata, without any break. So even if today's chanting was not good, okay, tomorrow it was not proper. Day after, the efforts continue. That is called parishramam. Drishtva parishramam Krishna kripaya asit. To attract Krishna's kripa, continuous effort is required. So when we are offering lamp to Yashoda and Damodar, that should be our meditation. That somehow or the other, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, I am in the association of devotees. I am on the path aspiring for perfection. But my current actions are far from perfection. But rather than feeling discouraged, demoralized, depressed, distressed, I should feel determined and dedicated to follow the efforts like Yashoda Mai. And therefore, please give me your divine grace, my dear Lord Damodar and Yashoda Mai, so that I can follow in your footsteps with determination. So the month of Kartik is to rejuvenate that feeling of determination by meditating on the beautiful example of Mother Yashoda. And that's what Vraja Bhakti is all about. Continuous efforts to align our will with Krishna's will. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So, any question? Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your class, Prabhu. I really like the way that you looked at it from Lord Brahma's perspective. I've always seen it from the sun's perspective, but to see from Lord Brahma's perspective of things not going your way. And then I love how with the sons you brought up the greyness, the colourfulness of Bhagavatam, and how it doesn't show that you must always be obedient, but there's other instances where there's disobedience, obedience that causes downfall. Yeah, and I love all the parts that you brought up. I just wanted to clarify, and please correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I'm understanding. If you can clarify and maybe explain a little bit more. Am I to understand that Krishna's will? And I love that you said that we're not meant to try to understand Krishna's will, but stand under Krishna's will. So I understand that you're saying that. I don't know if I'm right. Are you saying that Krishna's will is inevitable time? Is time Krishna's will? So if that's the case, my question is, when do we know? So, and then to accept everything that happens as Krishna's will. So as time progresses, anything that happens in our lives, this is Krishna's will. This is the greatest blessing, to have that consciousness. But my question is, if we don't have Guru present with us, or Krishna personally present, we're faced many times in our day-to-day lives with choices, and we don't know whether Krishna wants us to pursue something or to give up. So I'm accepting this as Krishna's will, it's not working out. Is it now, if that is Krishna's will, does he want me to show that I still need to continue and keep persevering like Mother Yashoda did, or is he putting a block there, and do I need to pursue something else? So, in order to pursue, how?
So basically, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Maharaj Parikshit is offering his prayers to the sages, he's saying, Tammo payantam pratyantu ipra ganga cha devi dajitamishe dvijopasrishta kuhakastakshakova dashatpalam gayata Vishnu Gatha. That my lifespan has been suddenly and shockingly cut short by this curse, by the young Brahmana boy, which was totally against my expectation. But I'm fine, because for me, destruction of the body is not as deadly as distraction of my mind. So he says, I pray that as the snake bird comes and there is a destruction of my body, that I cannot control. But what I can control, what I need to control, what I am being trained to control is distraction of my mind. And therefore, Dashatvalam Gayata Vishnu Gatha. You continue glorifying Krishna, so I can remain absorbed in that. One disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, how will I find you in the spiritual world? Prabhupada said, you reach there, I'll find you. So, Parikshit Maharaj in the next verse says, if for some reason, my mind does get distracted at the time of death, and I have to take birth again. So these are the three desires I have, and I pray to the Lord to give me these three desires. And Prabhupada says, when you come in front of the deities, these are the three prayers we should offer. Punascha bhuyat bhagavati anantarati prasangascha tadashrayeshu mahatsuyamyam upayami srishtim maitri astu sarvatra namo dvijebhya. What are the three prayers? First, may I develop unlimited attraction towards Krishna. First prayer. Second, that attraction can only manifest in the association of devotees. So, let me always appreciate the association of devotees. Sometimes we may only pray, let me be in association. But in association, you may sometimes also feel miserable. Why I am here? Why this devotee said like this, said like that? Why this interaction happened like that? So we are all caught in the situation where devotees are the one who attract us to come to Krishna consciousness. And many times devotees and the dealings is what repels us also in Krishna consciousness. So we have to pray, let me always appreciate that association. And third, Mahatsuyamyam upayami srishtim maitrastu sarvatra namo dvijebhya. Let me share Krishna consciousness and the joy of Krishna consciousness with other souls through demonstrating compassion. So let me aspire to be the friend of all the souls. So therefore, building our relationship with Krishna is called the most important principle, absorption in our sadhana. We should have absorption in our sadhana. Then, when we deal with other devotees, that is basically called consistency in our seva. And then, when we are sharing Krishna consciousness with others, while doing that, while also performing seva, the important thing is sensitivity in our dealings with others, which is called sambandha. So therefore we should have absorption in our sadhana, consistency in seva, and sensitivity in our dealings with other sevaks and performing our duties. So all these three are very important. And when we do that, Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mama piyantite. I will give you the intelligence from within. Like Yashoda Ma is caught between two things. The milk is overflowing. Krishna is feeding upon my milk. What should I do? So we are caught in such situations where you cannot always consult somebody, refer to somebody. You have to make that decision based on your maturity and spiritual development. And Krishna will give the intelligence from within. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam piyandite. And what are the parameters which we can control, based on which Krishna is pleased to give us that guidance from within, is the absorption in sadhana, our consistency in seva, and sensitivity in dealing with other sevaks creates sufficient conditions for Krishna to be pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, then he gives us the intelligence. So when there is purity in your intention, enthusiasm in your inspiration, then there is clarity in your intelligence, and there is finally proper integrity. And when there is integrity in character, there is intensity in your actions, in your interactions, in your sharing of Krishna consciousness with others. So all of these things come together when we follow the process with sincerity. So thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran ki. Kartik Maas ki. Shishi Damodar Bhagwan ki. Tai Go Premanandi. Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.